FPL Donatello's welcome. Yeah, I don't know if I'm liking that squad name, but you know what? I'm going to roll with it today. Anyway, it is 1 week until FPL resumes, and I haven't been this hyped about something coming back since Game of Thrones season finale. Now, let's just say that I hope my FPL season goes a lot better than that did. But anyway, today I'm going to be breaking down my biggest rookie mistakes from my first year playing FPL. So hopefully you guys don't go through the same pitfalls that I did. You can kind of call me Papa Don today. I'll be the Batman to your Robin. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that either. Comparing myself to the greatest superhero of all time, arguably. I'm gonna just say I'll be your Mermaid Man or Barnacle Boy today because I'm still trying to figure these things out too. Now, if you have been playing FPL for a while, please feel free to comment below some of the tips and suggestions that you have for us newbies out here, so that we can have a great enough season as a squad to get Emma Watson to come onto this channel. I'm speaking it into existence. It's gonna happen. Anyway, if you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and let's check out my biggest mistakes from my first year FPL. The first mistake that I made that was consistent over the first 16 game weeks or so, that is very fixable, was I took so many hits. I mean, I took more hits than a Snoop Dogg concert. I took a -4 just to bring in Josh King for 1 week. And of course he blinked. Now, I'm not saying you should never take a hit, but what I'm saying is you need to be as thought out and few and far between as possible. In fact, if we look at the top 10 in FPL last season, 4 of those top 10 took more than 5 hits last season. So there are times where you're going to have maybe a blank game week, a double game week, maybe a couple of your players get injured, and it's well thought out, and you say, I need to take a hit here, but try to make it as few and far between as possible. And my suggestion, if you are to take a hit, make sure it is somebody that is going to be a long-term play. Not like I did with Josh King for 1 week, but maybe bring in somebody like, for me, Martial game week 2, where I want to bring him in for a long term. Or if you're bringing in a premium mid who is playing a poor squad and you plan to captain him. I forgot to add that and I realized it while editing. Anyway, carry on. The second mistake that I made consistently for the first 13 game weeks were knee-jerk reactions. Now, again, this is mostly so I can rewatch this video as time goes on, almost like a note to self, like something Michael Scott would do. But I would watch a game on Saturday, and I would be watching, let's say, Harvey Barnes play. I'd be like, that dude looks great. He just scored a goal. I knew I got to get him in my squad ASAP. But the problem with that is, well, for two reasons. One, now I'm out of transfers and I can't make anything for the rest of the game week. So if somebody gets hurt or someone falls out of form, they're no longer in the rotation, I have to take a hit if I want to get him out. The second thing is, I just made a transfer based off of a heat of the moment. Now, I could go and look at his stats a few days later and say, oh my gosh, he only had one shot over the past 3 game weeks and he's only averaging 50 minutes per match. That is a red flag. I shouldn't have picked him up. So the moral of the story, moral of this video is going to be well thought out transfer plans. Now, if you're thinking, hey, if you're watching a match and thinking, hey, I need to get this guy into my squad ASAP, I got to do it, put your phone down, put your laptop down, and just relax, maybe take a walk, and worry about it later. Knee-jerk reactions, for the most part, for me last season, did not work. The third thing was probably the biggest kryptonite that I had for the first half of the season. There you go again, comparing myself to another great superhero. I apologize. But it's going to be caring too much about money. Yes, I am the son of a farmer, so I am stingy with money by association, but I honestly took it too far in FPL last season. I'm talking about I would make my transfers based off of who was going to rise and drop. So if one of my players were going to drop, I'd be like, dude, I like this guy. I think he's going to deliver, but I can't afford to lose 0.1. I'm going to drop him and bring somebody else in. On the flip side, if somebody was going to rise like Timu Puki, and then I was like, I don't think Timu Puki is going to do well over the next few game weeks, but he's going to rise. He's probably going to make me some money. I'm going to bring him in. Terrible. My theory was save now, win later. That is a terrible fallacy. For reference, I had about 2.5 million more than the top 10K did by average in money, but they had a lot more points than I did. Now, is having strong team value great? Of course it is. You can buy all the premium midfielders that you want. But again, the name of the game is scoring points game in and game out. It's not about who has the most money, which I, again, forgot for the first third of the season. Now, the other thing with money is I don't want to spend too much time on it, is having money in the bank. I hated having money in the bank last season, but if I did have money in the bank, it allowed me to be so flexible with the next transfer that week that I think it's almost important to have some money in the bank if you can afford it. Now, the last thing I'm going to say about money is that if you have a player that you've been eyeing and you want to bring in, like for me, it's going to be Martial game week 2, but if he's due for a price rise, I'm going to have to make an early transfer so I could be able to afford bring him in my squad. In that sense, it is okay, in my opinion. But again, it is a tricky game you're playing. The fourth thing is going to be playing the long-term game. It's going to be a big staple in my game plan this season. Now, last season I made the mistake of dropping Trent Alexander-Arnold the week before he dropped 24 points. Now, am I upset about me transferring him because he got 24 points? Honestly, no, because that's going to happen. You're going to have players that you drop that do well. The problem I had with that is I was convinced that he was going to be fantastic all season long, and I still found a way to get rid of him. You need to trust the players that you have and believe that they will turn around and do great. Every premium player, let's look at Kevin De Bruyne, for instance, the highest scoring player last season, I think like the 8th highest of all time. There we have 4 or 5 game weeks in a row where he didn't score, and FPL managers are saying, we need to get rid of him. He's not doing great anymore. But if you have faith in a player and you trust him, especially premiums, keep him in your squad and play the long-term game. Every premium player, no matter who they are going to have weeks where they do not get attacking returns. Stay strong, keep the faith. Now, what this allows, if you have 5 or 6 of these long-term players in your squad, it allows you to take punts on other players. Let's say there's a 6.5 million pound player like Troy Ore who has a good schedule for game weeks 3 to 8. Because you have those staples in your squad, now you can bring him in and say, I'm going to take a few week punt on this guy, hoping that he can get some attacking returns for me. Because you're able to set up that strong foundation of long-term players. The next thing is going to be using your chips. Now, I'm not going to lie, I still haven't figured out how to exactly use them, but my point is I was too scared. I was so scared to use my chips, in fact, that I had all 3 of them for the last 3 game weeks of the season, that I was forced to use them at that point. My wild card for my first one, because you get one at the beginning and another one for the second half, I was so scared to use mine in the first half that it come like game week 9, I had 4 players that weren't starting for their squads. But I did not use my wild card because I kept saying, well, what if I'll have a worse team later on? No, I needed to use them right then and right now to get those players out of my squad. In fact, if you look at the former FPL champion of the world, he used his wild card in game week 2. Took him from 2 million overall to 1,700. Now, I'm not suggesting to use it that early, but of course, if that's what you feel you need to do it. What I am saying is, and I'm looking at you, Sean, do not be scared to use your chips. If you have calculated and you say this is the best time to use it, do it. I was so scared that I waited until I had to use my wild card, and I only made like 2 transfers. I was so scared to use my triple captain on Salah in his double game week that I waited till the end and only got 2 points out of it, or 3 points out of it, excuse me. So what I'm saying is have a well thought out plan, common moral of the story, and use it when you feel it is best. The last bit of advice is the most important. Trust yourself. This goes beyond FPL. Now, if you think that somebody is going to be great, don't listen to what I say, don't listen to what somebody on Twitter says, don't listen to another YouTuber. Pick up who you think is going to do well. And this goes with captaincy picks as well. If you have a captaincy pick on Monday or Tuesday and you think this guy's going to do great, don't change it last minute like I did. So many times last season, I would change my captain at Saturday at 3 in the morning. In fact, just as a funny story, I captained Salah on Monday, and at Saturday at 3 in the morning, I changed it to Son. Salah got like 12, 13 points. Son got a red card and got me -2. Trust who you believe in. You've done all the research. You've picked the player out. Trust in that player. Trust in yourself. And at the end of the day, FPL will be great. So that was my video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Now, this is a bit different video than what I normally do, but I felt inclined coming off my first year of FPL to try to help out other rookies out there. Because I know how hard it can be your first year in FPL, trying to get learning curves down, and how frustrating it can be getting 20 points week in and week out. So hopefully this video helps you to have a better start to your FPL career than I did. Anyway, if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'll be back with team selection videos. And let's have a great season. Done out!